The ultimate goal of capacity management is to make sure that you don't run out. Don't run out of capacity, that is. Just about the only thing in the storage world worse than losing data is running out of capacity. When you run out of capacity, things can start going wrong very quickly. So an important part of good capacity management is trending and forecasting. On the slide we can see a simple graph that reports the physical capacity of the array and the provisioned capacity. Physical capacity is the fat blue line at the top, and it's set around about the 260 terabyte mark because we've got 260 terabytes in the array that we're monitoring capacity on. The provisioned line is the orange line that's trending upwards, and that's fine as a graph. But by adding a simple trending line, as we now show, gives us an idea of when we'll run out of capacity and won't be able to provision out any more capacity to our connected hosts. So we can now see that based on our current trend of the last 6 months, we're going to run out of capacity somewhere around the September-October time. And that's good, but if you've got an array that does thin provisioning and you're over provisioning on those arrays, then you need to add a third metric, used capacity. Now that we're over provisioning on our array, we've made a subtle change to the chart on the slide. We no longer care about when we'll have provisioned more than our physical capacity. Hitting that watermark won't stop anything from working anymore. It'll just make the array over provisioned, and there's no problems with that. What we now care about is how much capacity we've actually used. So we've moved our trend line from trending the provisioned line to trending the used line. And we can see that based on our current usage rates, we won't actually run out of capacity until sometime early next year. And on the topic of thin provisioning and over provisioning, it's entirely normal to have provisioned out more capacity to your hosts than you've actually got physically installed in the array, and we now show this on the chart. The chart now shows provisioned capacity at 760 terabytes, but physical installed capacity only at 720 terabytes. So we've provisioned out 40 terabytes more than we actually have. Now in thin provisioning parlance, this tells us that our array is 105% provisioned or 5% over provisioned. But that's fine. We can shell out more storage than we have, because the chart shows that our hosts are actually only using less than 650 terabytes. Time to look at one more example chart. This time we'll show storage capacity consumption year to date broken down to 3 lines. We'll have one line for how much space the technology group is consuming, another line for corporate functions, things like HR, legal and finance, and a third line for lines of business. So a nice charcoal coloured chart this time. What we're showing here is the net storage consumption for this calendar year. So if we follow the blue line that shows us the storage consumed by the technology group, we can see that so far this year the tech group has actually dropped in its storage utilization, and the chart suggests to us that during the middle of the summer they had some kind of clear out, because their storage consumption drops by about 27 terabytes around the June-July time period. Either that or our data is wrong, but maybe they've been good storage citizens and they've archived off some data. Obviously there's all kinds of capacity related charts, graphs and raw data that you can use as part of your capacity management, but what we've shown here are the fundamental ones, the ones that'll make sure that you know when you're going to run out of space and make sure that you don't. Now let's shift gears and talk about a common storage management task, LUN provisioning.